Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome to Module 2, Healing the Isolation of Judgment and Shame. At the end of this module, you will be able to define shame and contrast it with the experience of guilt. You'll be able to articulate how trauma intensifies the experience of shame. You'll recognize the common physical, mental, or psychological symptoms of shame. And you'll recognize how shame interferes with our ability to connect with others, and how compassion, particularly self-compassion, supports our ability to find our way to connection and home. This module comes at an important time. As you begin your healing journey, you will most likely encounter shame, harsh judgment, and self-loathing if you haven't already. These responses are baked into the human response to trauma. Unattended shame can bring and become an obstacle to your practice. To successfully walk the healing path, it's important that we learn how to heal our shame and self-judgment. In this module, we focus on the state of shame and the way that it impacts our ability to connect with ourselves, connect with others, to receive joy, to receive comfort, to even have a sense of hope and optimism. All of those are limited and impacted by judgment and shame. And one of the most painful impacts of judgment and shame, this is true to some degree of all defensive states such as fight or flight or shutdown, is that all defensive states isolate us. They break connection. But shame and self-judgment, they disconnect us more than almost any other feeling state. They make us feel the most isolated, the most different, and not only being different, but being bad, being less than, being unlovable, being too much or not enough. We unpack the dynamics of shame in this module, and you'll begin to see how your practices up until now will support you in your working directly with healing your relationship to shame and judgment. In my portions of this module, we explore what shame is and how we can work with it. We also have for this module, Conda Mason, who is a wonderful meditation teacher and activist. And she tells us a very moving and powerful story about her own work with shame, hurt, and anger, and how her willingness and ability to face these feelings allowed her to actually move from shame and anger and wounding to a place of forgiveness and compassion. The practices you'll have this month are focused on developing compassion for ourselves. I'd like you to interact with these practices at least once daily. The caveat being is that for those of you that find access to compassion to be triggering, it's going to be challenging for many folks because a lot of us don't even know how to start. But if it's actually triggering, very dysregulating, then I want you to go only as fast as you're able to, making sure that you work in your zone of comfort, not being overwhelmed and not being triggered. If you are able to tolerate these compassion practices, you'll find that developing this quality of befriending your experience, particularly befriending the experiences that you judge the most about yourself, is a profound tool in your healing. And in addition to that, you can intersperse any of the other practices we've done now in addition to doing a daily self-compassion practice. So allow yourself even some self-compassion in opening to and turning to this module. It has a lot in store, and it can also bring up some feelings. So be gentle. See you soon.